On the kind of night where you think nobody's watching, when rain falls so hard it drowns your thoughts and your shoes fill with water with every step. That's when you find out who you are. Yeah, that's the truth. You know what I mean? It was one of those nights, just a regular Thursday, except it wasn't, because on that sidewalk, under the flickering streetlight, Sharon Williams was about to change 3 lives, and she didn't have a clue, didn't want anything for it, not even a thank you, just a minute of quiet so a little girl could catch her breath. That's how it started. The sound of a truck's brakes fighting the slick road, a streak of blonde hair, a gasp, and then Sharon, soaked to the bone in her grocery clerk's uniform, launching herself into the street without a thought for her own safety. Just instinct and a prayer she wouldn't be too late. People gathered the way they do, umbrellas blooming, voices rising, everyone with an opinion. But only Sharon with arms tight around that trembling child, whispering, "You're safe now, sweetheart. I got you." It was a scene you don't forget, even if you wanna, the kind that burns into the inside of your eyelids. An old woman fussed over them. A stranger threw a blanket around Sharon's shoulders. Someone else dialed 911. And through it all, the little girl just clung to Sharon, silent, shivering. Then a man burst through the crowd. Logan Whitmore, eyes wild, voice breaking, pulling his daughter, Julie, into his arms so fast it hurt to watch. For a second, nobody spoke, just the rain beating down and Logan's chest heaving, the realization that he'd nearly lost everything flashing across his face. Julie pointed back at Sharon, her voice tiny but certain. "She saved me, Daddy." Logan tried to speak, but nothing came out. Gratitude and guilt and relief all tangled together. Sharon just nodded, picked up her ruined groceries from the puddle, and started to slip away into the rain. Logan called out, but she was already gone, just a shadow moving off into the storm. No drama, no fanfare. Some folks called her a hero, but she didn't want that. Not that night, not ever. All she wanted was for that little girl to be home safe, and maybe to warm up for a second. Back at his house, Logan sat up all night, the storm rattling his windows while Julie finally slept, searching online until he found her name. Sharon Williams, 34, grocery clerk, no family but her mom. Nothing remarkable except she'd stepped into the path of a truck for a stranger's child. Logan told himself he'd find her and say thank you, properly, whatever that meant. Meanwhile, Sharon was up before dawn, her apartment chilly, her mother coughing in the next room, bills stacking on the table, the old law school notebook buried under doctor appointment reminders. She slipped into her uniform and made her way back to the grocery store. Same as always. Nobody the wiser for what she'd done the night before. It was the middle of a regular day when Logan finally showed up, standing out like a sore thumb in a suit, envelope in hand, face drawn from a sleepless night. He found Sharon at the end of an aisle, tried to hand her the envelope. "It's just a way to say thank you," he said, voice quiet, eyes searching. Sharon shook her head, didn't even touch it. "Yesterday wasn't about money," she said, soft but firm, her chin lifted. Logan tried again, fumbling for words, but she stopped him. "Just make sure your little girl never feels alone," she told him. "That's all the thanks I need." It wasn't the answer he expected, but it was the one he needed. After that, Logan couldn't shake her words. At home, he turned them over in his mind, talking them through with Julie's grandma, Margaret, who said people like Sharon were rare and precious. By Saturday, Julie had worn her father down, begging to visit Miss Sharon, clutching a drawing she'd made of the three of them. Logan finally caved, taking her to the store. Sharon was there, of course, ringing up customers, her face lighting up in surprise when Julie ran to her and threw her arms around her neck. "Thank you for saving me," Julie whispered, pressing her little drawing into Sharon's hand. Logan pulled Sharon aside, told her he'd been thinking about what she said, about studying law, about helping kids without a voice. She shrugged, told him dreams didn't pay hospital bills, that life had gone another way. But Logan asked what if they could do something small, start a program for kids, reading help, workshops about safety, a safe space, no cameras, no speeches, just the work itself. Sharon hesitated, but something inside her shifted. She didn't promise, but she didn't say no either. On her break, She wrote 3 words in her old notebook. Safe room, listening circle, reading buddy. Time passed, as it always does. Julie became a little bridge, singing Sharon's praises at home, clutching crayon drawings, lighting up at the mention of story time. Sharon found herself drawn deeper into Logan's world, reading to kids at the library, running into Logan after shifts, catching rides home sometimes, conversations growing longer, quieter, heavier with possibility. One night, Logan confessed his fears, how he never knew if he was doing right by Julie since his wife Emily passed, how Sharon had brought laughter back into his daughter's life. Sharon told him all you could do was show up, keep trying, keep loving, even when it was hard, but not everyone was ready to let go of the past. Margaret, Julie's grandma, saw Sharon as a threat, a stranger from the grocery store, nothing more. She'd lost her own daughter, and every mention of Sharon's name from Julie stung, feeding a quiet resentment. But curiosity got the better of her, and one afternoon she watched Sharon read to the kids, saw the genuine care, the way Julie clung to her, the way the laughter returned. It wasn't what she expected, and it made letting go of her grief that much harder. The tension came to a head at the town's annual Lightkeepers Festival, a night when lanterns are released in memory of loved ones lost, prayers and wishes rising into the sky. Logan was asked to speak, and he did so with more heart than anyone expected, talking about resilience, about holding each other up in the dark. Julie dragged Sharon onto the stage for a reading, their laughter filling the park, drawing smiles from parents and strangers alike. But just as the applause rose, Margaret's voice cut through, accusing Logan of using a black woman for ambition, saying Sharon could never be Emily. Sharon stood tall, hand on Julie's shoulder, and said, "You're right. I'll never be Emily. But Julie isn't alone, and that's what matters to me." Julie's little voice broke the tension, saying, "Grandma, she makes me smile again. Mommy would want that." Margaret faltered, her heart softening, realizing maybe, just maybe, Sharon was giving something back that grief had taken. As lanterns rose into the night, carried by the hands of the living and the hopes of the lost. Julie pressed her small hands into Margaret's, guiding her through the ritual of letting go. The past wasn't erased, the pain wasn't gone, but for a moment, it didn't have to be. Sharon looked up, lanterns glowing above, hope flickering steady for the first time in years. Not as a replacement, not as a savior, but as someone who showed up, who did the hard thing, and stayed when it counted. And maybe that's what justice really is, doing what you can for the people in front of you, no matter where you came from, no matter what anybody else thinks. If this story stirred something in you, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell us, what does real justice look like in your community? Would you have stepped into the storm? Let's talk about what matters.